All right. Well, you are now looking at the inside of quarters or lodgings for a group of gentlemen adventurers. Okay, if you're going to be an adventurer, don't you want to be a gentleman adventurer? It sounds kind of cool. But you don't just get to say, I'm a gentleman. You've got to, earn it. You've got to know things. If you couldn't read or write, you don't have a gentleman's education. So, got to be able to read and write. Many different languages, even. Got to be able to write in such a way that everybody can understand what you were trying to say, which, as any student knows, that's not easy. But there's other things. If you're a gentleman, you get to have some nicer stuff, too. So, it's a little expensive, a pewter porringer. It lets people know that you're not drinking out of this nasty old jug because you don't have anything better. How about this? If you are a gentleman, you've got your own armor. Pretty good quality stuff. It'll fit you pretty well. Good defense. You would also, if you're a gentleman, you would have to know how to fight with a sword. And I don't mean swinging a sword around, I mean really fight. In other words, for anyone who studies martial arts, you know just how hard it is to learn certain martial arts skills. Well, this is a martial art with the sword, and you better know how to use it. Or you won't last long in Virginia, because sometimes you have to fight. Well, now I understand one of you is interested in stairs, and I totally get that. Quite frankly, I'm not really all that happy when I have to go upstairs into this loft, because all I've got is a ladder. Do they always use ladders to get upstairs into the loft? No, not always. There's a better, more safer way to get up here, but that involves actually building a set of stairs. And a lot of the Jamestown colonists would just say, the ladder works. It's not as convenient, it's not as comfortable, but it's a lot easier to make a ladder than it is to build a set of stairs, right? So if you're going to spend time, energy, and material building something, maybe you might want to build something other than just a stair. Maybe you want to build something that keeps your house more comfortable. Maybe you could use the wood to build a hood. This is called a smoke hood. And you can see, you got your fireplace down here. Most of the smoke goes straight up because we do know that smoke is warm air and it should rise. Does it all go up the chimney? No. If you were a Jamestown colonist, you would be accustomed to putting up with a certain amount of smoke. Well, here would be the toughest thing about this house. In the past couple months, I worked in here a couple of times, and I'll tell you, I was pretty comfortable. Had a little fire going, had my back to the fire, writing out things, doing some work on some leather work. And yet, the Jamestown colonists had a really hard time. But here's a tough question, one that most people and a lot of adults will get this one wrong. So feel free to ask people this question. Challenge people who say, I know a lot about Jamestown. What you say is, how many Jamestown colonists died in the first winter at Jamestown? And a lot of people will say, half of them. If somebody says 2 of them died when their tent caught fire, that actually happened. And if they say, well, according to my records, not a single man died in the period of winter. There were 38 men who started the winter, 38 were around when winter was over. I wonder if spending the winter in a house like this one with a nice little fire and a thatched roof, nice, warm, snug little English house, does really well for keeping you comfortable in the winter. But if you live in Virginia, you know winter is a short season. How about summer? Do Do you see anything in this house that would make it cool? The fireplace is nice to keep it warm, but do we have an electric fan? Do we have an air conditioner? Only way to stay cool on a hot summer day in Virginia is to do something scandalous and unheard of in most parts of England. I'm wearing a shirt. I know, isn't that scandalous? I should go put my Dublin on, especially if I'm talking to somebody on maybe an entire classroom of children. But in this case, hey, I'm a workman in Jamestown, and I took off my doublet because it's already hot, and it's early March, and it's starting to get hot already. So how many Jamestown colonists survived their first year at Jamestown? 104 begin the year at Jamestown, 38 survive. So do the math. That's a lot of people dying, but what season is going to kill them? Well, what's the season that you sweat? What's the season that you turn the air conditioning really high? What's the season that you want to come inside because it's just too hot to be outside? That's the season that's going to kill the Jamestown colonists. And they're not from Virginia. They're from England, where it's cold and wet, and you can wear wool year-round. So tough times for the Jamestown colonists. So be careful. Take care of yourselves during a killing heat of a Virginia summer.